Well, welcome to the Homeschool Minute, and I am not Joe Cameron. I am Sandy Craig, but I wanted to let you guys know this is the season and the time when school is gearing back up, or supposed to be, and we have many who are. I heard in some places enrollment is now 25% of what it normally is. So what does that mean? That means people are either choosing to homeschool their children or they're doing nothing. And let's pray that people are jumping on the homeschool bandwagon because they're going to find that it's much better this way than the other way. But if you're new to homeschooling or you're a veteran, it's good to talk about it. It's good to be able to bounce things off each other. And the first thing I want to say, if you're brand new, is do not panic, because this is the way it was done at the beginning. This was the way our kids learned. This is the way back in the past. And you know what? With the parameters and of that they're placing in school, on top of everything else, that the books that are so full of Muslim content designed by the Muslim Brotherhood and so many other things, you really should homeschool your children. Find a way. Even if you work, there is a way to do it. But here's the number one thing: don't panic. One of the easiest ways to connect with your child is to learn the way, to discover the way that they learn. Does your child like to talk and sing? Does they have fantastic verbal skills? Are they an athlete? Are they constantly moving? What's their attention span like? Find out the way your child learns, and it's going to make your day much, much easier. And on your day, schedule it out. But don't panic about it. Let things breathe a little bit. Work it out. Schedule it the night before. Do your tasks and what you want to do the night before each day. Each morning, this is what I want to accomplish this day. And it'll be a lot easier than just doing it off the top of your head. But then let it go, because your kid can learn in everything that you're doing every day. So find out how does your kid learn? What connects with them? How do they take in information the easiest? Maybe your child uses their hands a lot, or was an early walker. I don't know. That's a great athlete. All those things are more in tune with a kinesthetic learner, but there are all sorts of ways to learn. Did you know that when you figure this out, you're going to be able to choose your best curriculum, whether it's a mixed curriculum, whether it's homeschooling Torah or Abeka or what Bob Jones or whatever it may be. It's going to help you choose what's best for your kid. When you find out their learning preferences, you can help your child along so that they learn the best. When you know your kid's preference, you can help them visualize how he or she absorbs and comprehends and retains the information. Also, what are the different ways? What are the different examples of how kids learn? Well, some are visual, auditory, kinesthetic. You can add reading and writing to that. There's one study that says there are 7 styles of learning, which one is visual or spatial, solitary, where you like to learn by yourself, social, interpersonal, of course, auditory, and then we have the hands-on, the verbal, and the logical. I can tell you right now, when I teach, I like to sort of touch all the senses. I want to get everything motivated and then do that subject, especially when they're younger, over and over in different ways. I do that as I teach Torah to the kids at Life of Worship. I do it even at home too. What are the different ways I can present the same thing so that these kids can learn and make it fun? If you're studying something on the Civil War, then watch a documentary, because that's exciting. Then go act it out. Go outside and act it out and learn the facts. Make it fun, because those kinds of things stick to your kids. They like to learn. They will find out they love to learn, and they'll love to learn better at home. So don't limit yourself. And it's a point of discovery. As you're learning what your kids love and what connects with them, when you learn one thing, you can throw the thing that didn't work out and start anew. Now, also remember that each of your children can learn differently. So you need to be aware of that too. But if you've got one of those kids, I'll tell you, just for me, I had a kid that when he was in private school, when he was sitting learning, his head would be upside down, his legs would be in the air, he'd be moving around, he and a couple other boys. So he was always in the principal's office because he couldn't sit still. Well, he's also an athlete. He's also very artistic. And one of the best things that we did when he came home and we began homeschooling is that I tried to incorporate things that where he could move around. Now, did I have the basic do this from this to this to this? Yes, I did. But then I brought it out and we did some fun things along the way too. So guys, ask around, get involved with your homeschool association that's near you. That will help you. If you feel like you don't have subjects you can teach, there's probably people out there that can teach those for you. Also, there's curriculum out there that is completely video based where all you do is make sure the kids do the work and they'll do the teaching and you can send it in. Whatever you need, whatever fits you and your lifestyle, it's available to homeschool. But the first thing I want you to know is homeschool. That is the way that your kids can learn and grow. And you want to know something? You'll get a refresher along the way too. And it's a learning process as you grow together, but your kids are going to be better off for it. Anyway, find out how your kids learn, find out what connects with them, and begin to choose that curriculum that's going to connect them to that. And right now, start now in your everyday activities. You're cooking. Well, let's go do some math in the kitchen. You're working in the garden. Well, let's look at some biology. Let's look at photosynthesis. Let's look at some things like that. Hands-on learning is always great to incorporate it. So that is my homeschool segment today. And the time is here. The time is now when it's time to start, and be prepared. So
very good. Very, very good. Very good. Go ahead, Sharon.
You know, back in the day, they used to analyze how children learned. They didn't just stick them in a classroom. They would take them all into the kindergarten room, and they'd have books, and you would see how you would see the kids that worked with their hands-on. You would see kids that would sit and look at a book where you knew one could learn one way and one learn the other. They used to analyze that with kids. And I was never a kid that learned, with my hands. I mean, even today, I got tickled at Charlotte. I was trying to cut something, and she's like, "Would you like me to do that? I'll be glad to do that for you." And I'm like, "No, I was something for the fellowship we were making." And she finally just reached over and took the scissors away from me. I mean, I have a great respect for people that can do crafts and things like that. I hated finger painting. I absolutely hated it. Oh, it's fun. No, it's not. It's yucky. But I give me a book. I was happy. I was very analytical. I'm still very analytical, but my kids, they like to work with their hands and things. So you have to analyze how your kid learns, just like you said. And I got so tickled when my daughter went to kindergarten, because they came in there and they said, "Okay, we want you to tie your shoes." And I think she had on Velcro or something. She had to tie somebody else's shoes. But I asked them, I said, "Why are you having them tie shoes?" They said, "Because if they can tie their shoes, they're ready for reading." The hand-eye coordination.
Wow. That
was good. That was a good little tip to know. But yeah, we used to, and when we did Mother's Day out, we would watch how the kids did, and we knew what areas to focus on with them that would bring out the best in them, even though it was Mother's Day out. You know how to teach a child to walk in a line? I learned this. You get a long rope and you have little handles, other little ropes hanging off of it. You put one kid on one side and one on the other, and one kid on one side and one on the other, and you have a teacher at the front and a teacher in the back, and they all hold on to their rope, and they're all walking in a little line like a bunch of little ducks.
That's smart. That's pretty smart.
You lose one, and they get stuck in the elevator, and they're in there, and they're not tall enough to punch the button. I counted all the time. If we went anywhere, I was counting the kid. Okay, and his mother came and took him, and we got two more. Okay, I counted all the time, because it's like trying to keep up with a bunch of little chickens. They're so cute, and they're curious. They want to just look at everything.
Wow. Well, Jonathan, I pulled him. In second grade is when we started homeschooling.
We can't hear you. Sorry. Jonathan, you were home.
Yeah, I said Jonathan. We pulled him in second grade, and because he was always he couldn't sit still. He didn't want to sit still. He would be in the chair, but his butt wouldn't be on the chair. So he would be in the principal's office. I think he got this every day. So He
I
didn't
got
talk
in
with
trouble
the
for
voice.
talking.
Huh?
I got in trouble for talking, and y'all know, even today, my nickname is Chatty Cathy. So there you have it. And I just knew they're going like,
Can't believe it.
where did you learn all that? I'm going like, I
Can't
read
believe it.
it over here.
I could see. Well, but I was going to say for Jonathan, because he learns visually, he learns body, he learns it all. But I would always be for the auditory, I'd try to cover all of those areas. So I'd have him read out loud. And when he read out loud and then he watched something on it, he would really retain it and he never had to sit still. Well, no, when he was doing, as he was older and he was doing some paperwork, he did have to sit still, but I would go in there and sometimes in his homeschool day would expand because I'd go in there and there would be action fingers and I would see his hands go like this, and I'd walk in and it'd be like, get those things down. So he must have been acting out history or something. I don't know.
Have you ever noticed that it is a fact that if somebody just sits and listens, they retain only 50 to 60% of what they hear.
I have to write.
But if they're listening and writing at the same time, they retain upwards to 90%.
That's how I do it. If I'm listening to a message, I have to write while I'm doing it because it helps me get it in. Yeah.
So think how the Father teaches us. He gives us audio visual of his ways all out in nature that we can see and understand. He doesn't just say it, but we can relate it to what's going out in the earth.
Yeah.
So I always call it his audio visual teachings. He teaches us the same way we need to be taught.
That's good. That's really good example. Well,
the only thing I can add to it is when we were homeschooling Sarah, is that Adina and I knew each other's strengths, and we would share off different subjects because, for instance, my strength is math, and we found out that Sarah visualized math the same way that I did, and she learned it that way, whereas Adina had problems doing that. So I did history, so we would switch off, doing different subjects together. So that's my suggestion is you have a family doing homeschooling. A lot of times the husband may have strengths that the wife doesn't have, and get them to help and get them to do things.
John's responsibility was licks.
Yeah, I understand, but still, that's my suggestion.
I think that's good. It's just that's what he did. So anyway, well, that's a good homeschooling discussion. Maybe we can do more in a week or two. But
we are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.